Fairies. A woman once had 2 daughters. The elder one resembled her. Fan-chan was her name. She had, like her mother, a mean heart and a disagreeable face that reflected her horrid nature. The other daughter, Mary, was sweet, honest, and kind. She was like her father, who had died. The mother preferred Fan-chan, who was very lazy. Fan-chan could sleep as late as she wished in the morning. But Mary, the younger girl, had to rise early to do the housework, the washing, and all the heavy jobs. Mary also had to go to a well quite far from the house to fetch water twice a day. It was tiring work, but the girl always went at it happily and would sing with a willing heart. One day, as Mary was filling her pitcher, a poor old woman came up and asked her for a drink. With pleasure, she smiled good-naturedly and dipped the pitcher into the clearest part of the well. When Mary brought up the fresh water, she tipped the pitcher forward so that the old woman might drink with ease. "How kind and helpful you are, and smiling too," said the old woman. "I should like to give you a nice present in return." But Mary said she had done no more than her duty and wished she might do something more to help. She didn't know that she had just given a drink to an exceedingly powerful fairy who was dressed as a poor peasant woman to see if there were any good people left on earth. "From now on," said the fairy, "at each word you speak, a flower or a precious jewel will fall from your lips." When Mary got home, her mother scolded her because she had taken so long to get water. Mary began to apologize, saying that she had met a poor old woman, when lo and behold, jewels fell from her lips, then roses, then pearls. Her greedy mother, overjoyed at the sight of the rich gems, asked what had happened. Mary shyly told of the woman's gift. When her mother learned what had taken place, she was overcome with more greed, and she ordered her elder daughter off to the well. At first, Fan-chan refused to go and left grouchily only after her mother insisted. Too lazy to carry anything heavy, she took no pitcher, just a silver vase. She had scarcely reached the well when a richly dressed lady came and asked if she would be so gracious as to give her a drink. Once more, it was the fairy, dressed in disguise. "Oh, you," said Fan-chan as rudely as she could. "Do you think I'm here just to give you a drink? Get one of your maids to help you." "My dear girl, how unpleasant you are," said the lady. "I'm going to give you a suitable gift. Every time you open your mouth, toads, snakes, and scorpions will tumble out." Fan-chan shrugged her shoulders and went home. When her mother saw her, she called, "Well, daughter?" "Well, what?" she said crudely. And as she spoke, 2 toads and a snake tumbled forth from her mouth. "A terrible curse," cried her mother. "It's Mary's fault, I'm sure. My poor dear Fan-chan." And she spanked and spanked Mary until the poor girl finally fled into the depths of the forest, determined never to go home again. Mary wandered for a long time without hope of finding food or shelter, but as night came on, she saw a light gleaming through the trees. It led her to a cabin. Entering, she saw a bed and a table set with food. Mary expected the owners would return any minute, but it grew pitch dark and still no one came. Finally, she ate a little and went to bed. While she slept, fairies spoke to her in dreams. They said the cabin was for her, and she might live there to await her destiny. Mary had noticed that everything was brand new, and when she awoke in the morning, knowing that all of it belonged to her, her heart overflowed with thanks. She joyously put everything in her new home in place, and later, finding some material, needle and threads, did a little sewing. When she had worked long enough, she went for a walk through the woods. On a side path, she found a deer, hurt by hunters, and moaning with teary eyes. She tore her handkerchief into strips and bandaged the poor creature's wound. Then she came upon a fallen fledgling bird and put it back in its nest. She next noticed a brook almost stopped up with twigs and papers and hurried to clear them away so that the water could flow along fresh and free. So Mary, even when alone, found 1,000 kindly things to do. Yet it was hard to live by herself in the depths of the forest, with never the sight of another human being. She would have liked someone to talk to, someone to love and to cherish. The days passed. Mary felt so lonely that one afternoon she went and sat beneath a tree and cried until she fell asleep on the moss, still shaken by sobs. The king's son, out hunting, chanced to pass that way. He was moved to see the beautiful girl whose face, even in sleep, was wet with tears. As he was gazing sympathetically at her, she awoke. He asked her why she was sad. "Sir," she said, "my mother treated me cruelly, so I left her house. I've lived for some time in a cabin in a little clearing. My only friends are the forest creatures." As she spoke, the fairy's gift of diamonds and pearls fell in a shower around her. The king's son marveled as Mary told him her whole story gently and simply as ever. The prince very soon found himself completely in love with Mary. Her goodness seemed to him a treasure even greater than the jewels that sprang from her lips. He asked to marry her, and when Mary said she would, brought her to the palace. A few days later, the wedding, a truly splendid wedding, took place. When Fan-chan heard how happy Providence had made Mary, she turned sick with envy. She grew as yellow as a lemon, and she and her mother lived very unhappily, never content either with themselves or with anyone else. And the toads, snakes, and scorpions never ceased to tumble from that mouth of hers, which had never spoken a kind word to anyone.